Yeah, so I've started recording here. So today I want to, in last 2 months, we've done something around using ChatGPT to analyze data. We also use ChatGPT to do a data science activity last month. So I felt this month will bring everything together so that we can see how companies and organizations has actually been making use of ChatGPT in their day-to-day activity. Today, we are going to be creating a costume model. It's not like we won't be building this model from scratch, but we are going to be using it to create a conversational chatbot. Let me show you what it's going to look like. If you look at my page, we are going to have something like this. Let me bring. Can you see the text file? In this text file, it has, it's just a random stuff I pick on internet, a small write-up about data. It talks about data being information and the range of data, how data is stored, data management and use, data professionals. So what is in this document is what we are going to be, it's going to be our data that we are going to be chatting with. So our chatbot is going to be getting information from that data. So such that you can ask, it will be in an interface like this. You can ask like maybe what is explain data management and use. I think that's one thing in that document. And okay, and the model will be able to look through the data through that file, and it will give you results. So it will be nice if there are people that wants to follow along. Please feel free to, because I'm going to be walking you through it from the beginning. So what we are going to be using today is from a company called FlowWiseAI.com. So if you go to FlowWiseAI.com, so you can see FlowWise AI is open source. So they have their GitHub repository. And what FlowWise AI has done is they've made it easier for you to create applications using ChatGPT. So, and if you look at the way it is, FlowWise AI build the model is built on top using LangChain, and then you connect it to your vector store, and then you have your OpenAI embedding, and then the Hugging Face NLP model and the likes. There are different ways you can do this. Please, if you have any question as I'm talking, feel free to put it in the chat, and you can also raise up your hand or just unmute yourself to talk. So let's go to the GitHub page. So everything from FlowWise AI is on this GitHub page. So if you look at this repository, you can just come to this repository, and there are two ways you can do this. Okay, I want to believe is everyone having, do you all have a GitHub account? Is there anyone that doesn't have a GitHub account here? Okay. In case you don't have a GitHub account.
I don't have a GitHub account.
Okay. In case you don't, yeah, you can just, if you want to do this, you can sign up to GitHub. It's very straightforward. You won't need for this particular tutorials, but there is another way we can also, one of the reasons why I'm using the method I'll be using today is because I suspected that there might be some people that doesn't have a GitHub account, so that's fine. But if you want to create a GitHub account, you can just go to github.com. And then you click sign up. And it takes in 2-3 minutes, you are going to complete your sign up. It's always good for you to have one because you can keep your, or you can have a portfolio online, which is helpful when you are going for interviews or for your CV. So for you, if you have a GitHub account, you can always fork this repository. Or if you don't want to fork the repository, you can do the type that I'm going to recommend for the sake of this session. You click here and then you copy this. What we want to do is you clone the repository. So once you copy, you come onto, I'm using PyCharm. You can use any environment. So no, you can use any environment that is comfortable for you. You can use VS Code, anyone can do, but more of PyCharm. And what you do is you have your project repository. On your projects, on your project file, you click git clone, and then you paste the value that you've pasted there. And once you git clone, it will, you have a copy of everything in that repository on your computer. And after you've done that, the next thing that you're going to do is, for me, I did that. So okay, I just want to go out to do it so that you can see. So cd, okay, so you do git clone, and then you put the address that you want to clone, and you will click. And if you do that, it will clone that repository on your computer. And after cloning, the next thing that you do is you now go into the repository that you've cloned. And how you're going to do that is inside your file, you want to go to the Docker file, and you want to go to you want to go to Flowwise, and then from Flowwise to Docker. So you can do that by, you can seed into it. Are you following? So you can do cd and then the name Flowwise / Docker. You can do it twice, first cd to Flowwise and then Flowwise to Docker again. And with that, you get into that environment. You now need to do something before you move forward. Please, can you hear me speak? There's somebody in the chat. Am I the only one who doesn't hear anything? Please,
you're
can you hear
okay.
me?
We can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So after you've cloned this repository, inside, when I clone the repository, this is Flowwise, you go to the Docker part of it, and then inside this Docker folder, you click on this, and then on this environment, when you clone that repository, it will give you, let me quickly go to that so that I can show you. If you go into this Docker environment, what you are going to have is env.example. You see .env.example. So you are going to refactor, you rename this file to be .env. And after renaming this file, you will remove all these other ones, because you are not using your own database, so you don't have a database host, and you don't need all this information. So you remove all this. You can leave it as port 3000. For mine, I have changed the port from 3000 because I'm already using my port 3000 for something else, for another application. So that's why my own is port 3050. It can be 8000, it can be any number. So yeah. And so you confirm that this is what it is. And the next thing is you now come here to run Docker Compose to build your Docker container. The guide is on this repository. If I go back, if you go, you can see. Let me go to. I'm looking for a way to get to. There's an explanation on the page. So okay, if you look at it, there are two ways you can do it. You can use Node.js, but as I know, many of us on this call, we we have some relationship, maybe some special relationship with Python. So that is why we are going to be focusing on the Docker side of things. So yeah, so now that we have this, before we run this Docker Compose, the other thing you need to do is you need to have a Docker installed on your computer. How many of us have used Docker in the past? Okay, let me show you how you can install Docker. You can just go to, apologies, I'm used to getting to everywhere from Google. Docker. So you can come here to install Docker. One thing I like about Docker is that their documentation is, how can I say it, is detailed. So you can't get it wrong. Just you download, you can choose if it is Linux or Windows. For Windows, you can just click on download Docker Desktop. I already download Docker Desktop, so I won't be downloading it. But if there's anyone that needs to download it, and after you've downloaded Docker, that is when you now continue to create your container. So if you don't have Docker and you run this Docker Compose, your container won't build. But once you have Docker installed and you run this, that will make your container to build. So I won't be running this because I already have a container that is running. Let me show you how Docker is going to look like. This is the Docker image I've built using that. So let's go back. Yeah, so you can see this one is the one that is currently running. This last one. So I started it 45 minutes, about 45 minutes ago, just to make sure everything works before the tutorials, right? So, and you can, one thing about Docker is it is free and it has space for you online. So, and it's a place where you can keep when there is this problem among developers, because we have different computer and sometimes there are different versions of software. If I build a particular software, sometimes by the time someone else needs to run the same software, there might be some problem in terms of requirements and stuff. But when you wrap your applications around in a Docker environment, it is easy it makes it repeatable. So it makes it work all the time. So that's why it is very common for people to use this. And once you have this and it's already working, we can always go to that. Is there any question? Is anyone trying to install Docker or anything that needs help? Or is anyone trying to follow this with me? But feel free to
Well,
make
I'm not gonna
comment.
lie, you're going kind of fast, so I probably will need the recording after this. If you could put the recording in the chat, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, I'll be sharing the recording. Yeah, I'll be sharing the link for everyone. Everyone will have access to the recording.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, and after we have the Docker, we have the Docker, the next thing is for us to start the environment. And the way you are going to start it is through, remember we use localhost we use 3050 as the port of in that portal. So you can just, if I can use another environment, another tab. If I click on localhost, it will take me to that environment. And when you get to this environment, that is the environment that Flowise AI has provided for everyone. This is the one I was showing you to explain what we are going to do. But I'm going to do another one now so that we are going to see how to go about it. So this is Flowise AI environment. For us to continue, there are two things that we need, but the first thing is we go to the marketplace. And when you get to the marketplace, you can see there are various options that you can choose. In our own case, I want us to do this. I want us to practice with conversational retrieval QA chain. And you feel free to play around with any of them later. So I'll click on this. If you look at the way this is, for any of you that is familiar with the Azure Machine Learning Studio, you notice that there is a particular interface like this that can help in machine learning and stuff like that you can actually put together a UI. But you can relate what you have here with what is on this page. You can see LangChain, that's the model, the embedding, OpenAI, and Hugging Face. So let's go here. You can see here, we have the character text splitter here. The file that you want to analyze or you want to chat with will be here in the text file. Your OpenAI embedding will be here. The OpenAI model is going to be here. You are going to be connecting to PyCon. That is the database that you can use to store your vectors. It's a vector database. And after that, you have your conversation retriever. So if we just do this together, if that's okay, what we need here is, firstly, we need to get a key to OpenAI. How many people on this call, who in this call did not have an OpenAI key? Do we all have one? Okay. Okay, one person doesn't have. So with that, I'll quickly show us how to get an OpenAI key. So an OpenAI key, 1 second. You can get that from platform dot platform.openai. So you enter this, and once you enter, you open an account. I'll intentionally log out so I can show you how to open an account. So you come to this place, you can put your address, your email address and likes, and you can use your Google account, your Microsoft or Apple. For me, I usually use my Google account.
Yeah, Nagasi needs to mute themselves, or maybe you should mute them on purpose.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, I'll do that. Thank you. Ngozi, please, I'm going to mute you, if that's okay. So you come to this platform. So all you just need to do is to put your email address. It will ask you for, like this, if you go with your Google or Microsoft account, you won't need to put a password, you just log in. But if you want to use your email, you can have a password. One thing about this is it will require you to put your credit card, your account details, because for some of the model that you're going to be running, it might cost you some money. But for the sake of this tutorial, it will come with some free credits which you're going to use. But even when you need to be charged, they charge very, very small amount of money. So it's not going to be something that it will be too noticeable. Yeah, because they can charge maybe for 0.05 pence. It's a small amount that you can afford to use it. I think everyone on this call can afford to use it. So that's how you get an open AI key. After you've now have your account, you go to view API keys. And under view API keys, you can create an API key. For the purpose of this tutorial, I created this one that I call tests. One thing about when you create a key is that you must copy your keys immediately you create it. Once you create a key, you can see that I can only see the first two and the last four letters, and that is it. You won't have access to it anymore. You create the key and you save it somewhere so that you can make use of it. And for the billing that I'm talking about, it is here. You need to add a payment method. I hope we are clear on that. So I will just go back to that interface and I'm going to connect my OpenAI. Okay, no. Before starting, I need to click that I'm going to be using the templates. Apologies for that. So use templates. And after I have the use templates here, the next thing is now for me to go into this. It's able to see that I already input another one, so I will just use it. So you put your OpenAI key there. You can choose which model to use. I usually use this ChatGPT 3.5 because it's cheap and also because it's almost free. If you use ChatGPT 4, maybe that might be a bit more expensive. I just stick to that 3.5. And then for the embedding, you put the same key that you've put there. For me, I already have this, but if not, it will just ask you for your key and details around it, and you just input it. And the next thing is for us to connect to Pinecone. You need a Pinecone database because when it's the way the model works is you have your text, it will convert your text to vectors. So you need to save that vector in a vector database because when you have it in your vector database, it's so that each time as you are chatting, your application will go back to the database to get that information. So with that, you don't need to always start again. Once you create a model, the model will be there. But without the vector database, each time we have to be running like I created some with notebooks in the past. Before I discovered the Pinecone database, you have to run it each time. So, and that can be, so what we want to do now is I want to show you how you can how you can have your Pinecone API. And you can do that by going to Pinecone website. I hope it is .com. I'm trying to skip going to Google this time. I don't think so. I think it's the wrong one. I'm coming back there. Mm. Okay. Okay, is it pinecone.io? So you come here, you can sign up. Yeah, I click on signing up because I thought I'm going to show you, but it's just logging into my account straight away. But what I want to say is that it is very easy to sign up here. I won't create another index for this, because if you are on a starter, what I'm doing is free. So I'm on this, let me enlarge this so that you can see. If you do this, it's not going to cost you any money. I'm on a starter package. You see pod start starter, so it's free. And when you are on this particular package that I have, you can only create one index at a time. And also it will last, it is free for 1 week. So after 7 days, I won't have access to this database. Yeah, it is because I don't want to pay. If you want to pay, it's not expensive, but I've only learned this just because, just for the sake of this tutorial. I've only used this for it. So once you log in to this environment, you will have an API key. So the API key is here. You can just copy your API, copy the value of this API key. And one thing that is important when you are creating, okay, you copy the API key and you put the, okay, it's already saying it here. But in case for you, let me do as if I want to start another one. You can see it will ask you for the name. This name is ChatGPT. It will also ask you for the environment. So for the environment, GCP starter. And it will ask you for the Pinecone API key. So that is that. It will now ask you for the index. For me, I have the index as chatbot. But one thing is, although because I want to see how I can explain this. For the index, one thing is very important, which I would like you to note. Let me show you that. If you go into, okay. When you want to create your index, it is important for you to set the dimension as 1536. If you don't choose the dimension as 1536, then it won't work. It requires the right dimension. So please, that is other things, you can leave it the way they are. You can leave the metric as cosine, leave other things, but make sure you put the dimension as 1536. Is that okay? And the next thing is, once we have that, the next thing is now we can upload our text file. Just to let you know, you don't have to follow the way I'm doing it. You can do it either way. It's just making sure that you have everything there. So I'm going to be uploading the file that we have on data. 1 second. Remember the file, this file, in computing data information, blah, blah, blah. So let me save this and then upload file, downloads, data. Okay. So we have our data there. Return source documents. Okay. So now that we have filled all this, we've completed this, we can now save. You save it. Which name should we give it? Meetup group. Then we save this. And then you can now start chatting with your documents. How can I help you? Let me open the file to see what I can ask. Okay, I can say, how is data stored? Okay, invalid API key. Why is that? Maybe I should just go and I don't know why it is saying my API is invalid. I want to create another API key. Okay. So because the problem that one has is because maybe because I'm already using this in this other, I think there is I have this that I showed before we started. So I guess because the API is working somewhere, it's not allowing us to, so it's something that we can take note as well. And then from the document, we also have something about data. We can ask question like, what is the summary? Of the domain? Yeah, and the document says something about okay. It says something about data professionals. So let's see what it's going to say about data professionals. But the thing about it is it will be explaining based on what we have in the data. Like if you can see, this one is talking about ISAM and VSAM, you see. It will be going back to your own folder, to the text message, to the text that you've supplied. So, and that is a problem by many organizations at the moment. They want to connect ChatGPT to their own, they want to connect it to their own costume data sets, and they want to train it based on their data sets. So, and that is the end of this. You can put your own data. It's just for you to, I think, let me just summarize in terms of steps, how you're going to go about it. The first thing that you're going to do is to go to flowwiseai.com. When you are in that website, you can, from that website, you go into their GitHub accounts. When you get to that GitHub account, you clone the repository. And after you clone the repository in your own environment, if you can remember what we did here, after cloning the repository, you clone it. After cloning, you adjust the .env file inside the Docker folder, and you choose a port that you would like to use. In my own, it comes with port 3000, but if you like creating apps, you might have used your port 3000, 8000, or the popular ones for something else. So that's why I've adjusted mine to 3050. And once you've done that, you go inside the folder, inside the Docker folder, inside the folder, you must be in that Docker folder to run it. When you're in that Docker folder, that is when you're going to run Docker compose update. That statement will help you to create your container. And when you create your Docker container, I skipped the fact that before you run the Docker compose, you must make sure you have Docker installed on your computer. You can as well use Docker in the cloud. But I have the desktop because it's easy for me to monitor it locally. And once you have this, once you create it, you can either go straight to start inside your Docker once to click this, or you just go into your tab, and then you put localhost semicolon 3050, and then you go into it, you get into Flowise AI, and then when you get Flowise, two things that are very important, your OpenAI key and also your Pinecone API key. Inside Pinecone, you also create your index. And once you do this, and then you connect your text file into this. So it is very straightforward, and I believe we can all implement this ourselves. Do we have any question or comment, thoughts on what we've done so far?
No, I would love to speak to you more about, I have a application that I'm utilizing in AI, so I'd love to pick your brain about some things after the call. Do you have a LinkedIn or you have a
Yeah, I
LinkedIn?
have LinkedIn. Yeah, I have LinkedIn. My name Emmanuel Ogunbemi on LinkedIn. Yeah, if you send me a message, I'll reply to it.
Can you put it in the chat? Put your LinkedIn in the chat.
Okay, 1 second.
And then you're going to be
1 second.
around this weekend?
Yeah, in weekend, I'll be around in the morning. In the evening, I'm having a barbecue. It's going to be a celebration week this weekend. I'm
Okay.
available around 11, 12.
Okay. We'll connect on LinkedIn and talk a little bit further.
Yeah. So I would 1 second. I just want to do this now. So this is something that we can, a lot of people are creating a lot of applications using generative AI, and it is quite useful because it helps. It's only in critical areas, but in areas that is not that critical, and where there is not much, where less privacy is needed, I think applications like this is good to go and is already saving people a lot of time. So I've just put my LinkedIn. It's nice to connect. Everyone, I'm open to connecting with you. And if you let me know what you like us to talk about next, I usually think about what I think you would like to learn. But although I've put some placeholder up until January, but all those things they all can be changed. So feel free to let me know what you would like to see, which topics you would like us to talk about, because I do this because I want to I want us to. Okay, I can see a question in the chat. Can you use PDF directly via OCR plugin, or do you need to extract the text? For this particular Flowise AI, you need to use text, but you can also use PDF. I've used PDF too, but environment is that this environment is very, very easy for people to.
You cut out right there. You cut out right there, Emmanuel. What'd you say? We can't hear you.
What about now?
Okay, now it's better. Mhm.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so as I was saying, is the one way I've used the PDF, it's more when I build the code from scratch. The lang chain, I know sometimes the code can be boring to many people. Yeah, but it's something that we can do as well. Yeah, we can connect with the time I did with the PDF. It's something interesting. If that's what you guys want to see, we can work towards that in our future matchups. Yeah, do we have any other question? We are finishing early today.
No, I'll contact you outside of the chat.
Okay, that's all right. So thank you everyone for joining today. It's nice to see you. And next month, if you have ideas about what you would like to see next month, please feel free to post it in the meetup group, and I'll pick up your brains. Until then, next month we are focusing on NLP, natural language processing. Yeah, so see you next week. Have a nice weekend.
You as well.
Okay, thank you very much. See you next week.
All right, thank you. Bye. Mhm.